For your next lettering assignment, first thing you need to do is you need to go ahead and create a new screen size canvas, and you need to read the article that is posted with this assignment. You need to read that article before listening to the rest of this video, so make sure you've done that before you come back here, because I'm going to use a lot of vocabulary from that, and it's a whole lot easier if we start out on the same page. On your fresh canvas, now that you've read the whole article, we are going to start doing some practice compositions for a phrase, a quote, a saying, a series of words. Could be a famous quote, could be something, just a quote from you that is original. Either way is fine. So you're going to take a quote and we're going to letter it, make it into artwork. For this process, I'm going to start by using my sketching pencil just because I really like it. Also going to change my canvas by adding my drawing guide on. Remember, you can edit your drawing guide. You can change the opacity. I'm going to make it a lot lighter. I don't want it to be very prominent. And I'm going to make my size a little bit smaller. Let's say 50. Just because it'll give me a little bit more wiggle room. So for our composition, first you have to have your words picked out, and you need to figure out which words you're going to emphasize. So for my sentence, I'm going to do the road, and this is one of my emphasized words, is long, but worth it. So this is my sentence. These are the emphasized words. You can see road, long, worth it. Those go together and make sense, at least somewhat. But if I were to emphasize the, is, but, it wouldn't make any sense at all. So this is going to be my setup. Now we know that these words that I have underlined are going to be the larger, more emphasized words, whereas these in-between words are going to be smaller. I'm going to start by giving myself a little bit of a grid. I'm going to do kind of a plus sign, locking it to horizontal and vertical by drawing the line, letting it snap to a straight line, then pressing my index finger on my left hand down on the screen so that it snaps to a straight up and down and a straight horizontal line. The reason that I'm doing these lines like this is because I want to create a balanced composition. I want everything to be centered. And the word long is probably going to be the middle of my sentence. You can see I've got 3 words before it, 3 words after it. So long is going to be centered right here on this point is where it's going to be centered. I'm going to take this layer, hit the N, and I'm going to turn the opacity down. And then I'm going to create a new layer because I don't want to put my shapes on the same layer as I'm going to put my kind of guidelines. Now let's see. On the article, they talk a lot about starting with rectangles and then taking those rectangles and altering them in some way. So if my word long is centered on this point, so I've got 3 squares on either side of this horizontal line here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half, well, 6 squares this way, so I'll go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down, and across. Now I know that that is actually even and balanced across. I know that, let's see, above long is going to be the word is, and that doesn't need to be very large. So I'm going to do a straight up and down composition for this one. So is can be quite small. And then road is going to be another big word, but maybe not as big as long. So I'm going to make that like so. And then now in this one, I'm going to break down all the words into individual pieces, but some of them could go together, and it really depends on your sentence, and I will show you a couple of examples that I've come up with here in a minute. So after long, we've got but, and let's say worth it. Let's make this longer. There's a lot of letters going on here, so let's make this a longer rectangle. Now, to make this kind of very stacked, almost looks like a layer cake sort of thing all fit together, let's talk about how we could alter the shapes. So I'm going to take this and I'm actually going to copy it. So I'm going to swipe down with 3 fingers and I'm going to copy it. And then and then I'm going to paste it. And I'm just going to drag it over here so that I can alter it a little bit from this location. So we've got kind of a composition where everything's all stacked up. I think what I want to do is I want to create kind of an egg shape this time. So I'm going to take this bottom one and I'm going to take this layer and turn it down a little bit and make a new layer. And I think I'm going to make this into an arc. Oops. Made a new layer. I thought, nope, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna make an arc right here. And you can either eyeball it and try to make another arc that's the same, or you could go in and copy it and paste it to get the exact same arc. And let's see if we move this up. Up a little bit because we want it to kind of wrap around. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. That way butt will fit in here nicely. And then let's see, long. Let's do kind of almost like a bow tie shape in the center of this. Then put our is a little bit closer, like so. And then road. Let's make that an arc. And let's make this another arc on top. So you can see everything is still stacked, but they're kind of interacting with each other in a slightly different way. That way I can turn off this bottom layer that I've just created everything from, and I've got my kind of framework. Next, after I have everything kind of mapped out and figured out how it's going to be placed, I'm going to kind of start filling in my words. Now I'm not going to fill them in with exactly the perfect calligraphy that I actually want on my final drawing. I just want to look at the spacing. So here I go again. I'm not making a new layer. Be very careful with that. Road. Now, I feel like there's an awkward gap here, but something I'll have to deal with later. Or maybe something I can consider whenever I do more shapes. All right. So now I have a composition, and I can turn off all these other layers behind it and see what that looks like. Now what I want from you is I want you to create 4 of these practice versions. They should be different compositions, different ways that your words are wrapped around each other. And for an example, I'll show you what mine look like here. I've already completed this part of the assignment. So I've got a few different types of shapes going on, and I'll turn off my words just so it's easier to see what's going on. I've got a lot of use of kind of diagonal triangles. This one that's like all stacked in the bottom right I really like. And then I've turned on my words, and you can see how they look like so. So this is what I want you to turn in. I want you to turn in 4 of these little compositions so that you have everything arranged and figured out. You'll see I tested out a little bit of calligraphy. I did try out using some cursive on the unimportant words, and then some very bold manuscript for the other words. It's up to you what you choose to do. but keep in mind that it's not your finalized version of the text. Everything on here is arranged neatly, and once you've decided which one you want, I want you to probably go ahead, make a layer, number these, and say like 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then tell me which one you say, you know, I want to do this one. That way I know which one you're planning on going with for your final composition. So 4 of these are what's due on this particular assignment.